very first things that you see, or the very first impressions that you have as you begin to understand where you are and what is happening around you. What do you see as you take a look around?
I'm in my house. You can see a field outside. The sheep. I have something to write with in my hand. I'm sitting at a table. I'm writing a love letter.
Yeah.
I'm so poor. I don't think she's going to choose me.
Who did you say that it was for?
It's for the love of my life.
Yeah.
I keep seeing her in the village. I just don't think she's going to choose me.
Why do you think that?
I have no money. All I have are these sheep, and they're not even mine.
Yeah. You tend to the sheep for someone else?
Yes.
Mm.
My family died,
Yeah.
so I have nothing. I'm by myself.
Mhm. What are your interactions with the love of your life like?
She smiles at me. We've talked a few times. She's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I know that I have nothing to offer. But I have to try.
Well, you do have something to offer her, though, don't you? Your love.
I think she can feel it.
Yeah.
I feel like we talk in my dreams.
Mm-hmm. What do you do after you write that letter?
I keep it with me, and when I see her in the market, I get close enough and I give it to her.
That was very brave. How did that feel?
Felt right. She comes to me. She makes love to me. And then she tells me that she's marrying someone else. But she comes back. And I think maybe she'll choose me. But she doesn't. She marries him anyway. She gets pregnant. And I know it's mine. I have to watch her live her entire life with him. With my child. She comes back over and over again. I live for this. I live for every time she comes to me. It's torture, but I can't stop. He never finds out. This is my whole life. My whole life is living for the moment she shows up at my door.
How many children do you have together?
We have 3. And there are more. There are more that want to come. They stay with me. I feel them. When I'm out in the field, they talk to me. They ask me questions. I teach them about sheep. They're so curious, like real children. I like my peace. I like that when she's not here, I get to be alone with my children and my sheep.
Yeah.
So peaceful. It works. Eventually, I just stop. I just stop caring she's with him because he doesn't really know her like I do. He has no idea those are my children. And then he dies. Nothing changes really. They live in the village and I live here. We're happy like this. Eventually, I'm just so tired. And I just grow old. This land was eventually mine. I have no one to leave it to officially. I tell her though. So buy it for our son. She's with me when I die. And whenever I die, I realize that our spirits are always together. And that feels so much better. I understand that she was always with me, even when she was with him. We didn't have to physically be together for me to know that. I was too worried about it. I wasted time. I spent years angry about it, and I didn't have to. She was always mine. Nothing could have kept us apart.
Sometimes it's easier to have perspective and understanding when you're on the other side of a lifetime like you are right now.
Yes.
What do you think the lesson and the purpose was for you to have that lifetime of seeming torture at being separated from the love of your life? What was it you were supposed to get out of that?
The perspective I gained was that it was a waste of time to worry about it.
She was
I spent years actually angry with her,
right.
and I said things, awful things to her, to try to force her, to convince her to be with me. I tried to break up with her. I tried to make her feel bad. It was awful. I shouldn't have done that. It was a waste of time, and it hurt her feelings. And it didn't really convey how I felt. I loved her unconditionally. I didn't care. I would have accepted her no matter what she offered me.
Yeah.
I didn't need to hurt her, and I feel like I wasted time hurting myself. I should have been more confident in our love.
Yeah.
I had too much wasted energy on the wrong things in that life.
Yeah. How does that apply to your life right now?
I am focused on the wrong things sometimes.
In what ways?
Focused on the lack, on him not being here.
Right.
I'm afraid
Of what?
that we're never going to be together.
Yeah. Does allowing that fear energy in make union any quicker or more feasible?
No.
It's important to honor that, though, to honor that experience that you're having. How can you honor that without feeding into it?
Feel it and let it go.
Yeah.
And remember that it's a waste of time to fixate on it. I don't know the future. And I'm manifesting the lack of him by focusing on it.
Right.
more that I relaxed in that other life, the happier I was. And she always came back.
Right.
There was nothing that we could do to change the magnetism that we had.
Yeah.
I was too focused on what I thought it should look like. I actually liked my life the way it was. And I realized that, but it took years.
Is there anything else that feels important about this lifetime?
Mm. Seeing the beauty around me and the simple things, standing in the field is so beautiful. Just appreciating the small moments,
Right.
and experiencing things in a mindful way, noticing what actually is instead of being focused on what is not.
Right.
I feel my I feel myself in this time being afraid that if I focus on what is, then it will never come to me.
What's the best thing for you to do moving forward?
I have to think positively. I'm seeing my future in this life. It's coming out of my solar plexus. I'm creating it. I have control.
Is the location that it comes from your solar plexus rather than your sacral? Is that significant?
Yes,
Why the solar plexus?
I'm creating it with my power. I have control over what I can create.
Mhm.
It's not happening to me. I'm doing it.
How is it? How is it that you do that, that you create?
Mm. I'm realizing that my power is there. I think it's my mind, but it's not. My mind isn't doing anything but interfering.
Right.
I think it's my heart, but it's not. It's my solar plexus.
Yeah. How can you support that moving forward?
Get out of my head.
Yeah.
I have to stop waiting for him.
Yeah. What is it that you've put on hold while waiting for him?
Giving birth to my projects.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that if I put them out, I'll leave him in the dust.
Right. Is that something that is a legitimate concern?
There's something my team always tells me I can't know. There's something around that. There's something about that that I'm not supposed to know the answer. It's this faith trust exercise.
Hmm.
I think I have to do it even if it did leave him in the dust.
Right.
It feels like a test.
Is there a particular project or creation that is waiting to be birthed right now?
Yes. I have to start with my tarot course that I'm writing.
Yeah.
And as soon as I put that out, my stream of projects will increase. And I know that, so I'm putting it off.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. I'm just afraid. I'm afraid my account will grow too big too fast. I'll be too busy. I'll have too many clients. I'm scared.
Those sound like beautiful problems to have.
It feels like I'll just completely forget about him.
You could never.
The last time I created like that, I didn't care about anything.
Mm. Maybe
And
this
then,
lifetime is
oh,
about finding balance.
I just realized something.
What's that?
The last time I created like this, I was so happy and fulfilled. I felt like my truest self. And then I met my ex husband, and everything stopped. I shifted my focus to him. I changed my life. I took the focus off myself. I think I'm afraid I'm going to do that again. And so I just don't want to start.
Yeah, the irony is you're just not focusing on yourself now.
Yeah. And I'm not allowing for truest expression.
Right.
And the thing is, Charlie would never ask me to give it up.
Of course.
He'd be proud of me and he would never tell me to stop. It's not going to be like it was, because I'm not going to self sacrifice for someone else. I know I don't deserve that. But I have to do it even if it means it slows us down.
Right. Seems like when either of you taps into your divinity in that way, though, all it could possibly do is bring you closer.
It's just this little fear that using my power to shine like that will push him away.
Right.
And I'm realizing he's mirroring that. He's afraid to put out his music.
So, what is the best thing for both of you to do moving forward?
We have to create no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that we're both hiding.
Right.
He's afraid because all of the songs are about me. And the thing is, it would be confirmation for me in the 3D if I heard them.
Hmm.
I've been blocking myself from that by not doing my thing.
Right.
It's funny.
Mhm. What else here is important for you to keep in mind moving forward?
Creation is expression, but it's not my purpose.
What is your purpose?
Connect people with source.
How is it that you do that?
And show them source inside themselves. Open their eyes and their minds and their hearts to spirit. Help them tap into their own essence. And show them what source wants to show them, which is that we are loved and they can tap in at any time.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. Creation is just a way to express myself.
Right.
And people keep defining me by what I can do creatively, but that's not how I want to be defined.
Yeah. So, how do you change that?
I think I have to say that to the people who are trying to do that to me.
Right.
And I think I have to be open about what I do, my spiritual job, my spiritual business. I haven't even told the people in my real life that I'm doing that.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a step that you're ready to take?
I want to. I've been thinking about it for a while. And I think there's nothing really standing in my way except the fear of being judged as evil.
Yeah. It's okay to not be ready yet.
I feel like I'm almost there. I'm also afraid for Charlie. I don't want people to judge him because of me.
Yeah. Why don't we why don't we think about the time in your life when you very first felt that energy of being judged? Go back to the very first time that you had an experience where others were judging you and judging you in a bad way.
In this life,
Yeah.
it was when I was really, really little in the church.
How old do you think you were?
Maybe 3 or 4.
And what is it that happened?
I was dancing and singing,
Yeah.
and someone told me to stop.
Yeah.
It was always happening. Such little ways, chipping away at my truest expression, like who I really am.
Right.
It's just people chipping away at it for years. It's like piece after piece after piece after piece. So eventually I just stopped expressing.
Why don't you picture yourself at 3 years old in church, dancing and singing and expressing yourself? I want you to see 3-year-old you doing that in the most pure and joyful and innocent way. And why don't you see yourself as an adult now joining her? See what that feels like and what she has to say, that little version of you, or how she reacts, what that's like.
She's so happy. She loves life. She feels loved. She talks
When,
to angels all the time.
yeah,
She doesn't question anything. She just accepts what is. Nothing bad's happened to her yet.
right. It might be helpful to channel her energy whenever you're feeling worried or apprehensive about being judged, as a reminder about what loving life really feels like, what
Yeah.
that looks like, and how to anchor that in.
I was so calm and curious before everything happened.
Yeah. What is it that you consider everything that happened?
All the pain.
Right.
I feel myself blocked. My sacral. It's like a before point and an after, and there's a block, a wall, that I can't get across.
Why don't we go to that before the block was there, to tap into that energy and just scan ahead a little bit to see when and where that blockage came in.
My mom's family came to visit. It was all bad. Every time my mom's family came, something bad happened.
What was it that happened this time?
The first time was whenever I had my sexual trauma. I know I'm safe from that now. I've worked on it. But I see now that it took my joy as a child. I didn't see that before. It's like this cloud. I thought I attracted it by being so vibrant. But I didn't. It wasn't my fault.
No.
I thought because I was so full of light and life and happiness, that's why it happened. But that's not why. It was not because of that. It was not because of that. But I told myself it was. I thought if I turned my light off that maybe I wouldn't attract any more pain.
Yeah.
But I did. I attracted so much more. But I don't think it was me. I think it just was. I think it just is.
Right.
It had nothing to do with me. I wasn't creating that pain. I wasn't creating the darkness. But I thought I was. I blamed myself. Thought if I could change, maybe I would stop experiencing things that hurt. I'm realizing now that I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable in this life with pain. It felt like disconnection from source. It felt wrong. I thought I was doing something wrong. I thought I was failing the mission. I didn't think it was supposed to hurt. I didn't understand. I couldn't let it go. I kept filing it away as a mistake. I kept track of every single time I felt pain or something happened that hurt me. I thought it was my fault, so I put it in a file of mistakes that I made, even if I wasn't at fault.
Why don't you picture that file, that metaphorical file that you put all of those experiences in that you labeled as your own fault? Why don't we find that file? And once you have it, why don't
Sorry, I have
you?
to turn my phone.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Why don't you decide what it is that you want to do with this file? What does it feel like? What do you feel like puts you on your highest timeline as you're holding this file?
I'm seeing I'm seeing myself destroying it, but I destroy it in a really funny way.
How do you do it?
There's this TV show that I really like called Community,
Mhm.
and he has a VR system and it has a ridiculous operating system. And the way you delete files is you have to drown them in a pool.
Yeah,
So I'm drowning, I'm drowning it in a pool. It's just making me laugh because I know the reference.
it's a beautiful way to transmute that energy.
It feels really good.
Good.
Oh my God. It's so funny. I love that I did that.
Me too. Do you feel a little bit more able to welcome in joy and a love of life now?
Yes.
Willingness to let your light and your love shine brightly.
Yes.
Good.
Oh my gosh.
Is there anything else about this particular topic that needs to be mentioned or talked about?
I'm realizing how it's linked to so many things I've been afraid to do.
Yeah.
It feels good knowing there's nothing holding me back anymore.
Good. Is anything else coming up for you?
I'm feeling somebody want to channel through me.
Why don't we allow them to come through? That would be great if you want to. Who is it that wants to speak through Heather right now?
I'm her main guide.
Hi, main guide. What would you like Heather to know?
My name is Rom.
Rom. Hi, Rom.
Hello. I'd like to thank you for helping her work through that.
My pleasure.
She's like my child. And I couldn't protect her. I wasn't prepared for that. And I feel partially to blame
Yeah.
for why Heather always felt like it was her fault because I think she was feeling me.
I didn't know that spirit guides could feel such strong emotions like guilt or shame, responsibility.
This was a very big job for me. Source trusted me. Before she incarnated, I looked up to her so much. She offered this to me as a teaching opportunity. She has no idea. Sometimes I'm learning on the job. She teaches me every single day.
Sounds like a beautiful relationship between the two of you.
You have no idea how it feels to be in awe of the person you're in charge of. I try to stay professional, but sometimes it's really, really hard. I got used to a certain way of being with her, but this transformation has completely thrown all of us for a loop. We knew we were supposed to bring her here, but watching her do it has been a really incredible thing. She's she's always suspected that she knew more than us sometimes, and she's not wrong. She decided to let us learn from her. She has higher guides, but she picked me for this job. I just needed her to know that. It's not as serious as she thinks it is. She always thought we knew more. But the truth is, we're learning.
I love that you guys are all learning together, Heather and her guides.
We wanted a relationship that was collaborative. So we structured it this way. She's in control of a lot of her journey because she's the most experienced soul. She thinks we're hands off sometimes, but it's because she asked us to be.
What insight or advice do you have for her today about her journey?
Remember that you planned it this way and it's going perfectly. There's nothing that you did wrong, and there's nothing that I did wrong. We're figuring it out because this is the way it was planned. You created a giant puzzle for yourself. So you have to remember that if you don't know something, it's because you didn't want to know something. You're going to figure it out. You can always access the answer if you want it, but you don't like to access it the easy way. You want to figure it out on your own. So we support you in that. It's one giant puzzle because it's supposed to be. I wish you'd view it more as a game because that is what it is to you. It's a lot more fun than you think it is right now.
Right.
You set up all of these challenges for yourself because you knew you could handle them. And the thing about having Charlie in your real life is that he's going to help you remember how fun life actually is.
Those younger
So,
twin flames will do that. They will remind us older feminines about
yes,
fun and enjoyment, won't they?
you set it up this way. You realize that you chose it all to be this way. All of your work is up front. All of your growth is up front. You both chose it this way because you're going to be able to get through the hardest part of your journey, and the last part of your journey will be enjoyment and work. You'll
Right.
be able to create, you'll be able to flourish, expand, enjoy. You didn't want to do that later in your life, neither one of you. The twins that are coming together that are closer in age will have to do some of this work throughout their entire life. That's not what you wanted to do.
Right.
You knew if you got all of the work done first on yourselves, then you could just enjoy the last half of your life. That's why it feels accelerated. It is.
Yeah.
It's the harder route, but advanced souls choose harder routes because you learn so much more and you expand so much more in the last half. It shouldn't be a concern that you will continue to have to experience these difficult lessons. It's not like that. Not for you. Those who have chosen the slower route, they will be the ones who experience the harder lessons all the way through. They'll be spaced out over time. It's not to say that you won't have lessons. It's just to say that this portion where you're having to come into yourself will be complete.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
This is why we're so excited to see the next portion. We've built it up in her mind, and probably that was our fault. But we know what it's going to look like, and it's going to look like full expression and full expansion, enjoyment, happiness. So each challenge that you come upon whenever you're in that state doesn't feel like a challenge anymore. It's so easy. You just roll, and your life is mostly happy, with every now and then having to adjust. Whereas now, most of Heather's life has been very, very difficult with periods of happiness. That's why happiness feels so foreign. She hasn't experienced a lot of it yet. It's funny, she is realizing now that Charlie hasn't either, but because of his age, he has experienced more happiness in proportion to what she has.
Right.
You planned it this way. He gets to expand in a different way, but it's you. You see, it's the other half of you. So Heather's happiness was with him while she got this done. Union puts everything back together. The lessons that you learned apart, they'll suddenly lock into place, and you'll experience the understanding that you had both sides of every single lesson in your soul. So what you experienced when you're in separation, he's experiencing the other half of that. Union is putting the puzzle back together.
What happens when those puzzle pieces finally come back together?
Expansion and upload into the consciousness. The things you learned, they come together into a complete picture and they're sent back to source. It is such a faster way of experiencing expansion. It's like a hack. Normal human experience is only one soul, but two souls. It gets done so much quicker.
Right.
There's so many practical reasons for twin flames. And the best part is that there are gifts that go along with it so that it makes it worth it, because it is a lot more difficult.
Why is the collective, the mainstream, so triggered by the notion of twin flames?
There's a human wound around uniqueness that exists so it can be healed. Humans are afraid that they are not unique. So they created the idea that they aren't. They created this idea of normalcy and mundane nature of humanity.
Right.
And it exists right now. The twin flames, magic, love, all of those things are seen as strange
Right.
because we have to heal this wound around being unique. Humans have to understand how unique they are.
Right.
The twin flames are going to charge the idea even more whenever they come into union. People will feel very triggered because they don't want to accept the idea that magic and predestined ideas are actually better for human consciousness. They still want to exist in the paradigm where everything is not special. everything is normal, because that's what has been for so long.
Right.
But we're trying to slowly push them to the understanding of how unique they are and how special they are and how magical and powerful they are. There are so many powerful beings who want to come to Earth in the coming years. You guys are clearing the way for them. They can't incarnate in this kind of conditions right now. It's not safe. You understand that, don't you?
Yeah.
They would be
Why?
killed.
Right.
That's why all of your children are going to be so special. You have to plant the seeds.
Yeah.
These bigger souls, these more important souls, they'll change Earth, but we can't do it all at once. This is why the mission has been secret. You know why.
Yeah.
Can you see now why Heather chose this entire team as a teaching opportunity?
Yeah.
I think she's coming to an understanding about how unique she actually is.
Good.
Souls that are around her are special. I want her to understand and acknowledge that. The uniqueness that she sees in others, she has to start seeing in herself.
Right.
She's afraid to shine too bright, but I think we worked through part of that today.
Good.
I want to give her higher self an opportunity to talk.
I was just going to ask if her higher self wanted to come through, so that would be wonderful. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Ron.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
It's nice to talk to you again. This is her higher self.
I'm so glad that we're chatting again.
I cannot tell you how much more connected I am to her now since our session the last time.
I'm so happy to hear that.
She's still not meditating though. But I think that maybe she's worked through a piece of why that is.
And why is
I showed her that life, the life where we were in that simple, calm place and we had our twin, so that she would remember that mindfulness actually helped her in that life. You understand?
Yeah.
I want her to see how peaceful that life was for us when we just accepted what is. And it gives you access to your power. When you accept what is, you can access me, you can access everything.
Right.
It creates wholeness and expansion within. You're able to be a complete being. You can't do that whenever you're in pieces.
Right.
She has created so many parts of herself And we're trying to bring it all together now.
Into unity.
It's not possible to come into union when you're broken into pieces like that. She has to understand Charlie needs time. He's going to have to be able to put himself back together because Heather goes first.
Right.
The timeline that we chose is never about linear time. She has to understand that. We chose soul time. We chose readiness as an indicator for union, not linear time. She has to release any kind of attachment she has to linear time. She has to let it go.
So hard for so many of the feminines right now. We feel like we've been waiting forever for these men to come back in, but it's important for us to realize that what we're really waiting on is ourselves. It's not even
That's
them.
right. You guys have to understand that this was a collective choice. You all chose this. You all chose that you would not have a linear time frame. All of you chose this. Do you understand how big of a block linear time was for other twin flames?
I bet.
We've watched twin flames flounder for 30 years. And that was never what they were supposed to do. We can't do that again. Our missions are too important.
Right.
We had to release linear time, and the only way to do that is for all of you to transmute it through learning that it doesn't exist. It's time to let it go as a construct. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah. Yep.
If you can release it, do you see how powerful you are?
Definitely. Yeah.
It holds back hundreds of thousands of you. We see that if that is destroyed, if linear time is destroyed as a construct, on the powerful soul side, it's limitless, the power that you have in your hands on this planet. Do you see
Well,
that we could actually do real work? I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this because it's part of my project.
that's okay. It makes sense.
I want to show you through Heather what I see. I'm going to give her a vision to describe.
Okay.
If time is destroyed as a construct, the entire planet could be healed overnight. It's like we could revert her back just with intention.
Right. How far into the destruction of the construct of time are we as a collective?
Mm. It's difficult because I want to say halfway, but I also want to say it could happen tomorrow
Right.
because there's just resistance around it. We've brought so many people to a certain understanding, and work like yours is really helping because the collapsing of time is what we're after.
Mm.
We just need people to understand that it can collapse and condense. and exist all of this time. That's what mindfulness is helping people understand.
Yeah.
It's all part of the same idea.
Right.
People are afraid of what it could mean. If time doesn't exist, then why am I doing what I'm doing?
Oh, I can't wait for us to truly let go of the concept of time existing. I think that that's the most exciting and beautiful thing ever. If
Can
there
you
is no
imagine?
time, then
Right.
everything has meaning, like everything.
Exactly.
You have quote
And
unquote time for it.
yes, and the biggest thing that we see happening is that the people who are in power would realize they have no power. Because
Absolutely.
if time doesn't exist, why the hell would you clock in at a job?
Yep.
Why would you show up?
Right. I know. And that's where I get hung up on letting go of my last attachments to time is, well, my rent is due on the 5th and I don't have rent. So here I am looking at the calendar.
Remember, time does not exist.
I know.
You can take care of it. Release the block around it. Release the block around time. I was just about to say that they go hand in hand, time and money, because
Yeah.
money is also changing. We are actually farther into that work. I think that time being collapsed is probably a harder idea for humans because it's existed longer in the consciousness. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
The sun going up and down has always given everyone a linear time structure in different formats, but it's been ancient. Whereas money is a very, very, very new concept. And it is farther into being changed. We've done a lot of work with the digital currency becoming a prevalent idea has helped us a lot because it's helped people understand that money doesn't exist.
It's all just
So
energy. Right.
right, and so the fact that people are closer to understanding that, and credit actually helps people understand that money doesn't exist.
Right.
So it's this construct is actually much further along, but the whole idea is that money is energy and that you can attract it anytime you want, and that it can just show up in your account. It can just show up in your life. It can just show up.
Right.
The only block is believing it can't.
Yeah. The allowance of it.
Right. Heather has a mantra that she says that helps, which is, I am abundant, money flows to me from multiple sources. And I try to remind her to say it every time she spends money because it helps her understand that it's an exchange.
Right.
Right now, the most important thing to remember about money is that you get back what you put out, but it's not an equal dollar amount. It's just about energy exchange.
Not quantitative. It's not
That's right.
numerical and linear. Right. Right.
So consider the time that you spend with Heather today as energy that you're putting into, and you will receive back.
Right.
You have to have faith that that will happen. Heather had a hard time with that yesterday, feeling that she gave of herself probably past the point of her physical exhaustion. But what we need her to understand is that those are about energy exchanges. She put in her energy and she's going to get it back.
Right.
She will always be taken care of. Money will always flow to her because that's what is meant to be. Divine feminines are taken care of.
Right.
Everyone has access to this, but you guys are paving the way.
Right.
It will help you to remember.
sense. Is there any advice or information that you have for Heather right now as far as creativity? She got a lot of it from that past life, and Ram had a little bit to tell her as well, I believe. But is there anything you'd like to add about her tapping into her creativity?
Yes, I want her to understand that she has to take the pressure off of herself. It's about expression, and right now there's been way too much pressure put on it. We want her to birth her course because it will bring more monetary wealth, and it will bring energy into her life that needs to be here. It's just the next phase. But when it comes to creative expression, when it comes to painting or creating anything like that, it's just for her.
Right.
She has to stop caring what other people think about it.
Right.
Way too much pressure put on everyone. This is the difficult part about humanity. Everyone believes that they are not unique. And so when they see something that is exceptional, they cling to it as, I want to say flash in the pan, like something that is so, wow, look at that. That's amazing. And they did that with Heather being able to paint well.
Yeah.
So they defined her that way. But really we had turned her on to painting because we wanted her to unlock that happiness.
Yeah. I feel like she also uncovered today that going back to her childhood, what she really fears as far as the judgment of others is being judged for truly loving life and feeling joy. And so hopefully she can remember when she starts to feel fearful about creating because of judgment, she can remember that what she's truly afraid of is joy and loving her life. And I think that when that gets made conscious, it's so much easier to be like, I want joy. I want to love my life, and to let go of that, than that fear and that lack.
Yes. And what I wanted to convey was when we did turn her onto painting, she was able to tap into that without even having a conscious understanding of that. And that is why it was successful. That is why she felt happy. And that's what I'm saying, is that pursuing creative art, expressive art, it actually taps into that idea you're talking about without being consciously aware of it.
Right.
So humans can access it without being healed. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Will you follow that thought just a little bit more for me?
So imagine that a human is full of pain, experiences trauma that they've experienced on this earth plane. When they stumble upon creative expression, they are able to tap into their pure human essence, which is connected to source at all times.
Yep.
If a person finds that joy that lights them up, right, whenever they're expressing, they can heal themselves just through creating.
Yeah.
So our idea for Heather was that she was going to be able to do that. She was going to be able to heal herself. And she did a great deal of work through her creative expression, healing herself. But what ended up happening was she got derailed by her karmic relationship.
Right.
And it got everything to a standstill, which is why we're here right now, because everything had to happen a lot faster than we planned.
Right.
So I want humans to understand that the people around them don't have to be consciously aware whenever they're creating. They're tapping into source. And that's why it's so powerful. The combination of mindfulness And artful expression is that's the magic. That's the thing that could heal all of humanity. And do you see why so many people are interested in suppressing both of those things?
Yeah. Yeah. It gives all the power back to us
That's right.
in a
Because you could,
very easy and simple way.
that's right. You don't have to go to therapy. You don't have to go to the doctor.
No.
You don't have to go to work. You don't have to do all of the things that people tell you you have to do. You don't have to
Right.
go to church.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of that because it's all within.
Yeah.
There are just way too many people invested in keeping you convinced of those other constructs. But we're working to get those things removed from the idea of the collective. It's going to take a long time though. Some of these things are huge.
Right. Yeah. Is there, what would the kind of the final tidbit for Heather as far as creativity be? What would you say to her moving forward?
I would say to let things flow naturally, ignore what other people say, and remember that you're doing it for yourself. And you started doing it for yourself just because you felt drawn to that. And we put that idea in your mind because we knew that it would heal you, and it did. You remember how that felt. So create from that place of curiosity and wonder and excitement, and stop thinking about instruction from your teachers. Stop thinking about other people's opinions. Stop thinking about the pressure from being successful commercially. Don't think about that anymore. You have to go back to ground zero and think about why you showed up in your very first art class and how it felt to create from that place. And just take the pressure completely off. And remember that you can create in secret. Nobody has to know. You have your own studio, you have your own house, and you live alone. No one will know what you make. It can be bad, it can be ugly, it can be destroyed. No one will know. You have complete and utter freedom, and the only thing holding you back is yourself.
Yeah.
And we're supporting you. You're so supported. 99% of you is happy, free, and ready to go. So just let that 1% go sit in a corner for a while and just
Yeah.
do it.
Right. Okay. Do you have any, I think that the creativity and even union and twin flame stuff seems to have been fairly well covered already. Do you have
Yes.
anything to add as far as Charlie and union?
I probably shouldn't say anything else. She has to get through this part.
Okay.
I'd
I'll
like I'd like
go
I'd
ahead.
like to tell you some things, but I also don't want her to lose focus.
Okay, well, let's see if the next question I have brings any of that up. She's
Excellent.
wondering if there's anything that she should be aware of, anything to release or understand or integrate as far as Charlie's past life connections, mostly with women that like she knows, like our friend India, or like any of his karmics, or Jess, or me, or Shaylee, or anyone. Like, is there anything for her to know at this time?
I just want her to know that I have been struggling with this for a long time as a soul. So I I want her to know that I planned it this way so that I don't have to deal with it anymore. It's time to transmute it. It's been holding us back for many lifetimes. I know this was probably the hardest way to do it, but I just needed to not worry about it anymore. So I had to bring it to her awareness before union because it's gotten in the way many times.
And is this something that will probably be lingering even after union, just the energy and her experience of it, even if there's not actually a problem or a challenge that he is actually seriously interested in anyone else, but will that
Yeah.
energy likely still be lingering a bit for her to work through after union?
I planned it this way so that it's done pretty quickly
Okay.
because what she doesn't know, what we know, is that the second she's with him, this will never be a concern.
I know it's
But
hard when, go ahead.
she feels it will be because of visions she's had recently of India coming into her 3D life.
Hmm.
But I want her to know that I always feel bad whenever I say this. I put that there for her to work through now.
Well, and part of India's gift is that that's what she does for people. Her energy triggers others to face their own darkness and shadows. And
Yeah.
so it's not a coincidence, I don't
No.
suppose, that they've been working together and that this is coming up, because that's part of India's gift. And it's hard for her
Yeah.
too, because people get so triggered by her, and if they're not
Yeah.
very in tap and aware, then they just
Yep.
project it onto her and they think she's a
Right.
bad person or whatever. But obviously
Exactly.
Heather is able to work through that and on a more, on a more meaningful and soulful level. And so she doesn't think it's India, but she still
Yeah.
is in that gray area of, well, but I still
Yes.
feel triggered. Like, I know it's not her. She didn't do anything wrong, but like, ugh, I still feel
Exactly.
icky. Yeah.
It's that. And I have to get it out now. The thing she has sort of figured out is that India is definitely that soul to trigger her, but it's also because India chose to do this for her.
Right. Right.
This was it's hard to explain because it's not linear,
Hmm.
but you choose the people that you're going to grow with.
Right.
And it's hard to see that because you see it as a linear construct. Like, I'm going to meet this person then and then, right?
Right.
But everything exists now, and you already know each other, and you
Right.
already knew each other. So it's not new, but it
Right.
feels new to
Yes.
Heather.
Right.
So it's hard for me to explain, but it's
Yeah.
basically that the easiest way to say it is you chose it to be this way in order to learn it and expose it now. I want to give her peace about it because I want her to understand that this is not something that's going to interfere with her friendship with India. And I think she thinks it will, because
Yeah.
that's how other relationships have worked in her past, where if there's an issue, it's between the person. Whereas this issue is not about India or Heather, it's about the thing that exists in between. So I want her to understand that it's not an interference in an actual friendship. It's just an interference in her own growth.
Right.
It's being brought up to be healed and she doesn't have to worry about her friendship. And she also doesn't have to worry about her relationship with Charlie, because it's so hard for her to understand this, but it's not going to be an issue. Nothing is going to be an issue as far as infidelity or any of that with Charlie, because we've worked through it before, and we've been healing her and Charlie for months from these issues that were not only theirs, but ancestral and past lives. And I mean, they were really ingrained, but we're working through it already. She's almost there. It's just this last little bit just can't be there.
Yeah. And it's so hard to explain to someone who's never been with their twin in the 3D that like the magnetism and that energy and the pull is just, once you get there, you just realize you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, she definitely has not had any kind of understanding about that for that reason. You're right. I know what it feels like. And we've tried, like we've given her visions, but she can't cognitively understand until it happens.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Do you have any information for us at this time about our spirit babies who are wanting to come in?
You know that I was just about to say, I think Heather's baby wants to talk to you.
Oh, I would love to speak with him. That'd be great.
Uh, I'm actually not Heather's first baby. I'm her second baby.
Second after her 5-year-old? Is
Yeah.
that what that means? Or the second spirit baby?
I'm her second spirit baby.
Oh, okay. What, do you have a name yet?
My name is Scout.
Scout. Hi, Scout. What did you want to tell us
I
today?
want to tell you that mommy named me Scout because I like to go ahead.
Oh, that's funny.
I saw her. I came to see her. I peeked. I wanted to see what she was like before Daddy came. So I came and I watched her when she was sleeping one night, and she woke up and she saw me.
That's so sweet. Are you going to be a boy or a girl?
I'm a girl.
Yeah. What else do you have to tell us, Scout?
I wanted to talk to her about all of the babies. Can I talk to you about that?
Yes, please.
I wanted her to understand that all of us volunteered for this, and I want her to know that I'm not afraid of my big job.
What is your big job?
I'm going to be her first baby.
Why did the order change?
I'm the right soul. I'm the right soul to come in at this time.
Will Kit come second?
No, he's not going to come.
Why is that?
I'm the one she's going to choose. That pregnancy is not going to go full term.
How will that impact her and Charlie?
It's going to be really hard. They've been waiting for him for a long time. But he's the one that brings them together. And I'm the one that heals them afterwards.
And what a beautiful testament that he decided to come in knowing that he was never going to be able to spend an earthly lifetime with the two of them.
He loves them so much. You have no idea. He's the best big brother. He's taught me so much.
Was this always the plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't want her to go through it knowing that I was not there. I wanted her to know I was there. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Will she be pregnant with Kit very soon?
Ugh. She already is.
Energetically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here too.
Is it just a matter of waiting for the energy to be right for Kit to manifest into a human fetus?
Yes.
And then,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I want her to know it's not going to last long.
Yeah.
She won't have to lose him. People won't know.
Right.
Only they will know.
Right.
I don't want her to worry about that.
Yeah.
It will happen soon.
Yeah.
He's gonna stick around though. He's gonna be with us, all of us.
Good. Why is it that Kit chose that path? What is the value in it? The experience for him?
Can I let him talk to you?
Yeah, that would be great.
I chose to be a force that would bring them together. Because I didn't really want to incarnate this time.
Right.
I don't really feel like the earth is ready for me.
Right.
But I don't want her to think that they failed.
Yeah.
They told her that I was the mission, but this is how it was planned. I'm part of it, but I'm not the whole thing.
Right.
She's realizing that she's going to have 5 kids, but I'm not one of them because Ren is the 5th one.
Ah. So she'll have 4 more living babies then?
That's right. That's right.
With her here on Earth.
That's right. They're ready. They are souls from our soul family, but they have lived before.
Mm-hmm.
So they're older souls, but they're ready for another Earth lifetime. And I'm not ready yet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. It's all a part of the motherhood journey.
I just don't want to hurt her.
She'll be able to find the love in it.
I don't want to physically hurt her.
Yeah.
I know Charlie will help her get through it. It's gonna be hard.
I imagine it will help to make their relationship stronger too.
Yeah, it will. It'll teach him a lot that she doesn't know he needs to learn about fatherhood. He's going to be so ready when Scout is born.
Absolutely.
It'll be right.
Are all of their babies already in her womb?
I'm here. The Scout is here. The others are waiting, but they're nearby. They come and go.
Yeah.
But Scout and I are with her all the time right now.
Can you tell me? Oh, go ahead.
I go to Daddy too. I remind him that it's real.
Right. Can you tell me about the other light being babies for twin flame unions that are coming in the next 5 or 10 years? The ones that I've gotten downloads about somehow releasing, my daughter and I releasing them. Can you tell me more about that?
I can tell you that I am not part of that project because I chose this for our family. A lot of other twin flames are going to have experiences with loss because, like me, the earth is not ready for us.
Right.
Your energy releasing a lot of those other babies, those other souls, is work that needs to happen for the losses to stop. Does that make sense?
What is it that's different about these souls that will be released that makes them like a better fit right now.
There's some codes missing from human DNA. That's why I can't come in my fullness yet. I'm not compatible with her body. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, and I suppose that's why I lost my first daughter to a chromosomal issue. It was
That's right.
protecting me.
I don't want to say all, but I feel that it's important for you to know that a lot of twin flames will experience this. And it has nothing to do with anything other than the way that this needs to be anchored in. It's a process.
And that's why I keep seeing something about my daughter's DNA and mine coming together like the pieces of a
Yes.
puzzle to allow
That's
these
what
other babies to come through.
That's right. And that's what Scout is to mommy. She's that for her.
Right.
Twin flames are doing a lot of work with changing birth, childhood, parenting. There are so many of these issues that you guys are tasked with. And this is a really big one, but it's a process. You understand it's part of human evolution. We can't just rush it.
Yeah.
So it involves loss and understanding. There are a lot of souls on this earth right now that are not even being born to twin flames, but being born to regular humans that are experiencing this for this purpose. We're having to change the way things are going because humans have to shift. You're not compatible with the way that the future is going to be without a shift.
Right.
Part of your purpose is that you're supposed to help with that. And it might feel big when I say it that way, but imagine that you're not alone. There are a lot of twin flames that are experiencing these things that they're not conscious of.
Right.
You're just aware. You can help people become more aware of their role, but it's not important that everyone know right now.
Right.
I want you to know that. I don't feel that it's important for you to tell people the details of any of this.
Yeah.
The concepts are being planted in other ways, so it's not up to you to inform.
Right.
It's up to you to experience. It's up to both of you to birth your special babies and be the best parents you can be for them. You don't have to change the consciousness around it yet. It's just going to happen. It's seeds that are being planted in so many different ways.
And it's an energetic shift, I imagine, that as the twin flames continue to raise their vibrations and heal and integrate, and as my daughter and I work together, and as my twin comes back in to provide the protection that we need in order to be able
Yeah.
to do this work, that is what will start to release these new souls, these light being babies that are kind of in the queue.
Yeah.
Our DNA and our upgrades and our light will start to activate them, and as they're
Yes.
ready and as their twin flame parents are ready, then
Yes.
these babies will be coming in, and more likely after they've been activated in this way to be able to
Yes.
stay on this 3D earth plane.
That's right. That's right. I'm bringing to Heather's awareness at this time that there's potential that I could come back in her lifetime, but
Yeah.
I don't want her to be attached to that idea. I want her to let the other souls come through because they want to stay together. They were
Right.
siblings in several past lives, and they know that they like to be together. Especially the boys. Don't ever let them be apart.
Yeah.
They really don't like it. They really don't. So let them come through close together, okay? They want to be really close together.
Yeah. Are we at a point, either I guess Heather or myself or like these other the aware and conscious and awake twin flames, where the feminines are able to fully control their fertility?
I want to say yes, but the truth is that it's a collaborative process.
Uh-huh.
Um, your masculine also has a portion of the control, because I am a choice of Charlie. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Even if it's just energetic or subconscious,
Yes,
they still obviously they still play a role.
they absolutely do.
Right.
I want to say this really specifically, that I was created in Charlie's consciousness first.
Yeah. Right.
So Heather has to understand that all of her babies are part of him
Right.
energetically, not just biologically. It's a choice that he makes. It's a desire that is born from their soul.
Right.
And
So
some of it's super subconscious. I mean, obviously,
yes.
if a masculine's not awake, he has no idea he did that, but he did.
Yeah. Right.
Your masculine created your baby first.
Oh, that's funny.
That was what he wanted. That's what
Right.
happened to me.
Yeah.
Charlie made me first.
And then does feminine get to decide if and when she
Yeah,
carries that life?
that's right.
So it's not like we can force a masculine into creating a
No,
soul or bringing a soul in with us. But once
exactly.
they're on board and they said yes, they're willing, then
Yeah,
feminine gets to decide if and when.
that's right.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So that
I
basically means
wanted
that.
here's
Oh,
what I wanted to say. I wanted to say it's an ask and an answer. The masculine asks and the feminine answers.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's like a cycle, like a circle, because without both pieces you're not able to do it.
Right. And so, from a 3D human perspective, if a feminine is awake and aware and intentional, they could have all of the human 3D sex that they want. And
Yep.
she's not going to get pregnant until she has set the intention and consciously wants to be pregnant.
I'm gonna have to say subconsciously.
Subconsciously. Right, right,
Subconsciously wants to be pregnant because
right. That makes sense.
yeah, you notice how women can struggle with fertility until they don't care anymore.
Yes, right. Yep, that makes sense.
That's because it's a subconscious desire, and until she is healing the part of her subconscious that is preventing pregnancy, she's not going to be able to become pregnant because she's choosing not to be subconsciously. It's not a thing she's doing.
Right.
And that's what's so difficult, is because especially those who are suffering loss after loss, they don't understand that it's something that their soul is choosing.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that they're not experiencing loss that is shocking or upsetting. It's just that they didn't feel it was safe to birth a human child at that time. And
Right.
sometimes it's because they don't know that they are subconsciously just truly not prepared to be a parent.
Right.
Not that anyone's ever prepared, but
Right.
it's just a subconscious thing. It's a thing that humans can do that they're not aware that they're doing, which is control their reality. They think that they are
Right.
not controlling it, but they are.
Right.
It's not to say that victims don't exist. I hope you understand, but
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
there's a degree of choice.
yeah. Okay. So it's really important to be tapped into your own subconscious and your soul's desires. So even if I'm in a space where I'm like, no, I don't want to get pregnant, so I'm just not going to, it's important for me to still be tapped into my path and my mission and my purpose and what my soul is telling me, what my intuition and my subconscious is actually guiding me towards.
Mindfulness.
Yeah.
You have to be able to tap in, because exactly what you're saying. You can say consciously, oh, I don't want to, but like, what is your subconscious saying?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
You may be longing for that, for growth.
Right.
And that may be why it's such a complicated concert of things happening all at once,
Right.
because it's about the desire of each soul involved, and it's about the growth and the cycle and the timing and all of that.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
That's why it's not easy to become pregnant.
Right.
It's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Are there children being conceived? um these light being babies that are already in our wombs,
Yes.
they are able to come without the genetic contribution from the father. Is that right?
Not at this time, but
Okay.
eventually, yes.
Okay.
At this time, it is still, that's the part of those souls in particular that is not compatible with human DNA right now.
I see. And so as we're all doing our work here in the 3D earth plane, and this new wave of souls that is in the queue are getting their DNA upgrades, then
Yes,
that is something that can be possible
it can be
at some point.
possible in the future. And it's not super important for human evolution at this time, but it could be
Right.
very, 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 very beneficial in the future.
Yeah. There have been points in the past, in the history, where humans have conceived immaculately.
Yes.
And what was different about that time period versus now?
Um, it actually wasn't about the time period. It was about the
Mhm.
particular soul being incarnated.
Okay.
Um, Certain souls, because of what I'm describing to you about compatibility with human DNA, certain souls have to come in certain ways.
Yeah.
And the way that those souls have to come in requires divine intervention,
Yeah.
which is what immaculate means. It means that it has nothing to do with the biological process of sex or conception. It has to do with the way that the soul is supported through the pregnancy. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah.
So it's not that the masculine doesn't contribute to the pregnancy or that there wasn't sex involved.
Mm-hmm.
It's that when the child is inside the mother, that soul is being supported in a divine way, the pregnancy is not a normal pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a complicated process, but essentially the baby's not there. The soul is not there. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the body is being created and the soul is not inside the body.
And when does the soul enter the body in that circumstance?
And not until the baby is born.
Hmm.
It's predetermined.
Yeah. Are you able to tell how many light being babies my twin and I have?
I have seen 2.
Will we lose either one of them, or will they both be born onto this earth plane?
I believe both will be born.
Yeah. Do either one of them have any messages for me?
They're trying to decide how to convey the message. And decide if they want to channel. I feel Luna wanting to tell me she's telling you through me, I haven't put plans in place yet for our baby brother. I want you to decide how and when he's going to come in.
Nice.
She wants his soul to be the one that decides with you instead of her.
Yeah. And I guess my twin is on board for whatever I decide, whether he knows that consciously or not.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's going to show up when he needs to.
Yeah.
He'll be drawn in.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was amazing. Do any of those light being babies have any other messages for me?
Yeah, they're saying that the light being babies sometimes have to put their own desires aside and let the mother decide what that pregnancy will be like or eventuate. So sometimes they are still at the mercy of her choice. Does that make sense?
I think so. Can you explain a little bit more?
I may desire to incarnate, but that does not require you to have me. You still have a choice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
It's that they're reminding me of what Kit was calling a concert. It's a concert of moving
Right.
parts.
Right.
And some of them haven't decided until oh, okay. He's trying to tell me that he wasn't sure if he was going to incarnate until he came. He wanted to have the choice.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he came and saw what it was like and the timing and how, like, he basically decided that he didn't want to at this time. But that's why he's saying he could come back, because he feels like Earth's not ready for him.
Yeah.
And my body's not ready for him. But he's saying that it doesn't mean that it's hard, because what he's talking about is like mutable energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like mom decides, I decide, we decide together. Sometimes it changes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way he's saying that's the way it is right now.
Yeah. Right.
But that doesn't mean that it won't change in the future.
Right.
That makes
Yeah.
total sense.
Yeah. What about the ritual that I saw a lot of twin flames having carried out in the astral years and years ago, when feminines were like still kids,
Yeah.
to open up this possibility to get these light babies in our wombs? When I had interpreted it as basically these children were immaculately, they were divinely conceived in the astral,
Yeah.
and just waiting when the energy was aligned to come. But that is what happened, but it's not a matter of not still needing a sperm donor, basically.
What you saw was an intentionality. It's about setting things in motion.
Got it.
So it's about wanting to make the conditions right. Do you understand that it has to filter down into the 3D?
Yeah.
So it's like an intentionality must be placed ahead of time so that it can happen in the 3D.
Right. So it's so it's like there are different like phases and stages or
Yep.
degrees of divine conception.
That's right.
Yeah. And many of these souls who come in this way wouldn't want to come through the conventional human way of reproduction and sex.
It's not possible at this time.
The vibration isn't high enough in that experience and with those human bodies and vessels. Okay.
So their first step must happen in the other plane.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of difficult to explain, but it's I want to say metaphorical, but that's not the right word. It's like energetic. It's like the energetic steps have to be in a certain way at this time, but they won't have to be later. It's like what you saw was the way it has to happen now. And it's almost like a theory of a pregnancy, not a real pregnancy in that stage. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the first steps basically of the
Yes.
pregnancy for Luna, for example, started,
Yes.
18 years ago or 20 or whatever, when I was however old I was 30 years ago. And then
See, I want to call it the energetic imprint. The energetic imprint has to be made
right.
in those other realms in order to bring them in.
Right. That makes so much sense. Okay. Is there anything else that these light being babies want us to know right now?
That they're at peace with whatever stage the human mother is at. So if she chooses to go forward, then that's fine, but the pregnancy still may not eventuate. So it's just about being at peace with what is and not being attached to outcomes and not being attached to certain souls coming in a certain way or a certain order. We have to remind you of the lack of control. Lack of control is about faith.
Yeah.
So there's still an element of faith that must be present for each pregnancy.
Okay. Okay.
So I want Heather to know that it's okay to hope that I do incarnate. She doesn't have to be I want to say defeatist when she becomes pregnant.
Right.
She's allowed to be happy and hope that it ends in a birth of a live baby.
Okay.
I don't want her joy to be stolen.
That makes sense. Is there anything else that you want Heather or me to know at this time?
I've been watching Charlie. I just want her to know how much he loves her. There's nothing to worry about.
I love that. All right. I'd like to ask if Heather's higher self would step back in.
I'm here.
Thank you. I was wondering if there was any important information from the exchange that Heather and I had last night in the dream state or in the astral or whatever that was for either of us to know right now. I'm curious to know what it was about, but just wondering if there's anything important for us.
I was just teaching your soul about our connection, mine and Charlie's.
Yeah, I could see that.
Information exchange.
Helping me to anchor my very 3D union in the astral and the 5D.
Okay. I'm trying. I want you to be surprised by some things, but I want you to know that we're helping you. And Sadak, I promise that some of the gifts that we have in this connection are going to happen for you.
Oh, good. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Well, and hopefully I'm helping her to anchor hers in the 3D as well. So
You have already done so much.
oh, good. Do you have any information for us about like just kind of like the off energy that's here this morning? Does it have to do with New Year's, or is it just like a random day for just kind of funny energy?
No, it's not a random. This time is not linear. However, when the human construct with a new year starting, it's easier for us to push things through in that way. So our first day of this new year is about restart, clearing, and starting at 0 point.
And so that the energy feeling weird is just like a reset.
Yep. That's like a reboot of your computer. And that's what all the snow imagery is about. We've been trying to clear the last year and the last energetic cycle from everyone so that we can start fresh. So a lot of people, they do themselves a disservice by attaching last year's energy to this year's because they feel attachment. Because this is available at all times where you can just start over with brand new energy, but a lot of people don't feel that they can. They drag the old energy into the new year, but our intention for Twin Flames is that it's just a brand new start. We don't have to even think about the last year. We want to close.
That makes sense.
We want to close it out. We want to close the portal that was open, which was a portal of transformation, and we're opening a new portal of work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there any lingering energy that Heather can work on letting go of?
I want her to really let the past version of him go. The man that exists now is not who she met a year ago. And I want her to have a visceral understanding of that. I want her to understand that when he comes into her reality, she is starting with a person that is fresh. They're not starting on the 0 point relationship wise. Obviously, they're already in love and there's so much there for them, but she doesn't have to drag in the relationship issues that they've worked through in the last year. That was about transforming out of who they were when they met. I want her to
forgot that it's been a year today.
Yes.
How exciting.
I wanted her to understand that they can start as if none of that happened.
Right, absolutely. I feel like that's a really good place for most twins to start when they come out of separation.
Well, it's a lot easier for them because they haven't met in the 3D. So there's a really tangible way for them to experience that. And I think
Right.
that's something that they can bring to other twin flame connections is that understanding that they are new people.
Right. Is there anything else you want Heather or me to know today?
I want her to know that I am always supportive of whatever she chooses as far as her readiness. I'm not in any rush. We're not in any rush. And if she needs time, that's okay.
All right. That makes sense. Is there anything else?
There's something trying to come through. Ah, it's Charlie's higher self. Can he talk to you for a minute?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I wanted to introduce myself.
It's nice
because
to meet you.
I didn't talk to you before.
Do you have anything specific for Heather or for me today?
I wanted to say for you that I am supporting you. Heather and I both are in creating some of this, I want to say, magic that we have with our connection, bringing it to your connection. So we are supporting you, both of us.
I appreciate that so much. I am so excited about being able to connect with him in the astral. And so I know you have been helping with that recently, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anything specific I can be doing to tap better into my connection with him in the astral, or to be asking for your assistance energetically?
I'm already giving it, and I want you to understand that it's already happening. It's difficult because you haven't experienced it in the same way, but it's with my connection with Heather, it happened at the beginning. And so it's difficult to compare the process. But imagine that it has to trickle into your reality. As I am trickling into her 3D, it's trickling into your higher consciousness.
Right. Does my twin experience anything in the 3D consciously that's even just making him like go, huh, that's weird, like dreams or thoughts?
He has
Or
always had that his whole life. That's weird. That's his whole life.
I kind of got that sense when we first met, but he really closed it off. Did it start to come in strongly when we met and he just was like, I can't handle that right now?
I want to say that I can't speak to his experience in the 3D, but I know that for all masculines, that our 3D self is disconnected for a purpose. So we don't have the ability to discern fully for a reason. Source controls the process as far as our awareness in the 3D. So let me use myself as an example. I have the ability to connect with my 3D self, but not all the time, because my 3D self is being controlled by, I want to say, the plan, because it's just easier to make sense of it that way. But there's karmic reasons, there's energetic reasons, and there's also like promises. Each connection is full of a lot of things that were decided before you incarnated. And so there are things that your 3D masculine has promised he would do in order to make you become the best version of yourself. So sometimes that means I have no contact with my 3D body in order for that to carry out.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it's not like he's just lazy or slow to wake up, and it's not like I'm not connecting enough to energetically give him a boost. It's just
Right.
literally, it's just playing out exactly as it should.
Exactly. And it's different for every connection because you guys decided the way that you wanted it to play out. So in my connection, Heather and I decided that we wanted to meet this way so that we could transmute a lot of our past. I don't want to say mistakes, but it was like the past way we tried it, the past versions of us. We felt like this was going to be the best way to do that for our mission work. And our mission is specific, just like your mission is specific.
Right.
So the way that your connection plays out is specific to your mission.
Okay, that makes sense. What do you have any sense of what my masculine is needing from me right now?
No, you're doing exactly what you should be doing, and it's progressing the way it needs to progress. I want to remind you of something that we show Heather a lot, which is that if your energies come together too quickly, they bounce off of each other because of the magnetism, the magnetic pull. So if you try to rush it, that's when separation happens. And
Right.
our entire goal with this incarnation was that we never separate because we don't need to anymore. We're understanding now so much about ourselves that we realize we can get a lot done in union. And we knew that if we rushed it, that we would just separate, and we didn't want to cause that pain in each other in this lifetime. But some connections grow through that pain. So when they separate, they learn. Everyone's going to separate at least once, but the separation over and over and over again, there's something there for their soul to learn.
Right.
So if that's happening in your connection, then it's because it's supposed to.
And theoretically, one of these days when he comes back in, we won't be separated again, right?
That's right. Yes,
Okay.
because you'll be triggering each other enough. And that's why opening up in the higher realms, you'll be able to trigger each other without coming together in the 3D. That's what Heather and I can do. So we can
so that once we do finally come together in the 3D again, that's it. We don't have to trigger
That's
each other
right.
in the 3D. Not enough
Exactly.
for separation.
It's not enough for separation. That's right. But your energetic signatures have to slowly come together. Otherwise, you bounce right off.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's just too triggering.
Is there anything else that is useful for me to know right now as far as connecting with him? Should I just set an intention whenever I feel called to do so, to go into meditation, to connect with
Absolutely.
him or whatever?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Anytime you feel the call, that's what you should follow. You need to just follow your own guidance and understand that it's slowly unfolding for your highest good.
Okay. Gosh, thank you so much.
Of
Do
course.
you have anything else for Heather that you want to tell her?
I just want to tell her how much I love her and that I know it feels like this 3D thing is going way too slow, but I promise it's happening. And I promise that the things that I have promised you all the way through this process are going to come into your 3D. I don't want you to doubt anymore that it's going to happen. I need you to just trust me and trust that our plan is working. And I want you to understand that we have a blank slate right now for a reason. Our future is blank because we're creating it. So just allow it to happen and allow me to come closer. And I promise I'll give you everything that I have said I will give you.